Hi, everybody. Um, I just to let you know, before we start, I'm going to be reading from a script because I actually have a lot to say, and I want to make sure it's clear and concise. And so it goes like this. Hello, my name is Jeff Selver, and I am coming out as an alien contactee. I know this sounds crazy, and I am the first to agree. Now, just for the record, before all of this, I was not an aliens and UFO guy. I have an MBA, I worked in banks and sales, and I worked in the corporate world, public speaking and training. And I now currently work in logistics. Yes, I read Whitley Strieber's series of books on his abductions when I was a teenager, but it really ended there. For 20 years, aliens and UFOs were not on my radar. Now, before I go any further, in this video, I will be sharing a clip of 2 UFOs that I was able to film. These sightings came at significant events around the writing of a book about my contact events. At the end of this video, you will see that I passed a lie detector test about my alien contact. So without further ado, this is a sighting I had that I put together into a neat little video. I have 2 videos on my website and a link at the top to my official statements on what I witnessed in both sightings, including the raw videos. Now, all of my alien contact centers around an event that occurred to me in my 20s in December of 1997. I basically had an extreme consciousness event that was so real, it traumatized me. But it was the work Mary Rodwell has done in her book, The New Human, Awakening to Our Cosmic Heritage, written in 2017, that helped me truly understand that what happened to me back in 1997 was a genetic activation. So Mary Rodwell is an Australian extraterrestrial abduction contact researcher who has interviewed over 3,000 contactees and written 2 books on the subject. What is clear is that all encounters with the beings share a very important and central theme around human DNA to the non-human intelligences. Human DNA is collected through sperm, ova, and partially formed human fetuses. But what is also occurring is a modification of human DNA by the extraterrestrials. People are being born with genetic upgrades. She draws on the research of molecular biologist Dr. William Brown that these genetic upgrades are making use of some portion of the apparent 98% of our DNA that has an unknown function and is considered junk DNA by present geneticists. The premise being that there's hidden information in genes and the beings know how to activate it. One experiencer Mary interviewed was shown that aliens were upgrading human DNA and that this new DNA is coated in gold. Other contactees have experienced being activated and described the cells of their body feeling like golden light, like they had golden DNA. So I just would like to share something. So this here at the bottom is a journal that I recorded back starting in the year 2001 of this. At the time, I didn't know it was a genetic activation. I had this really abnormal and powerful experience that I didn't know what it was at the time. And it initiated me to go traveling. And when I came back from traveling around 2001, I ended up journaling my experience that had happened to me around this genetic activation. So you can see here that it was last edited in 2002, May 29th, 2002. So I can't fudge that. I can't fake that. And it's, it can't, I don't, if you could, I don't know how to do that. But so the point being is that I haven't touched this document and since 2002. And so when I do a Control F and I do cells in this quite large document going back, I think it's over, there you go, 29 pages. So it was meant to be a biography, documenting since childhood up to this event that happened to me because it was so weird. I felt the need to kind of document it. And here you can see that I actually talk about the cells of my body feeling like they had golden light in them. My body felt golden light, like the cells of my body. I felt I had literally wakened myself up from a deep sleep. The experience is virtually impossible to describe. So I had this very wild, this genetic activation, which was tied to kind of an expansion or a really intense push of consciousness. So this matches my experience that I felt the cells of my body were filled with golden light. Also, I recorded several events around this time in which I mentioned experiencing a golden feeling throughout my body. This answers what this experience was for me in December of 1997, a genetic activation. Without having an understanding about what occurred to me at the time, I buried it alongside the trauma. Now, around this time it occurred, I was seeing lights in the sky. I was having these kind of consistent and reoccurring experiences with objects of light in the sky, much like the ones I had filmed. I didn't know I was having alien contact. That's how good the beings are at obscuring memories. It was 20 years later when I began opening up this traumatic event again, when the same lights in the sky returned. That's when I definitely knew something was going on and that this event was about something larger. Now, it's a bit of a jump to go from still seeing lights in the sky to concluding that you were actually possibly in these objects, whatever you're looking at. And it actually happened with the unraveling of a screen memory. So I eventually uncovered this obscured memory that I had created by the beings of an event that didn't actually occur, but I didn't quite think of it like that at the time. And it didn't really make sense in my mind. And when I did uncover this, flashback after flashback kind of opened up. The details of most of that process is described in my book. So personally, I take comfort from a quote from abduction researcher Dr. David Jacobs' book, The Threat, revealing the secret alien agenda. Most people who have a lifetime of abduction experiences remain unaware of what has happened to them. They would deny as lunacy any suggestion that they were involved with the abduction phenomenon, even if they had been abducted just hours before. And Dr. J. Allen Hynek, an astronomer and professor turned scientific advisor for the US Air Force on UFOs from 1947 to 1969, is quoted as saying from his research that he believes 1 in 40 people have had alien contact. What that means is that someone in your own circle of family, friends, or coworkers has likely had contact, and they may or may not even be aware of it. The official date I knew I had alien contact was July 1st, 2019. All my memories started with these flashbacks, glimpses of environments and moments I could feel occurred to me, but couldn't quite figure out when and where. In some cases, the entire contact event was remembered in a flashback, but in most cases, I required the assistance of hypnotic regression. So in the abduction phenomenon, hypnotic regression is actually controversial. And I do understand that. But all you need to know is that I had several ways of testing myself that these flashbacks were actual real memories. That detailed process is laid out in my book. But in summary, I did do multiple hypnotic regressions on all of my contact events, often months or years apart. And I didn't read the previous transcripts. So I tested myself with what I actually remembered. And what I learned is that these are memories. The detail of them repeated themselves when I wasn't remembering what happens next, and tiny details repeated themselves. As well, most of my contact events occurred in broad daylight out in nature, on a hike, or out camping. These flashbacks or memories would show me some detail about the environment that my conscious mind had completely forgotten after 20 years. Yet in most cases, I was able to go back to the location after all these years and prove to myself that what I had seen in my memory was accurate. But lastly, it's the small details of my own contact events matching other people's contact events that continue to show me how real all of this was. So when you're not in this field, you can't just Google alien contact events. Just do it. There's nothing that comes online, and you get a lot of opinions, but not actual contact experiences. So for about a year, I was unclear what matched and what didn't. And it turned out a lot did. Once I started going public and started doing presentations, then you meet actual other experiencers and you meet researchers and you begin to see what's actually going on. I did put together that these events were very real, as they had constant collaborations with other contactees. Again, a lot of that detail is laid out in my book. But what excites me the most is when I have cooperation with military or government whistleblowers who are coming out, such as with investigative journalist Linda Moulton Howe, who was told by an S4 physicist whistleblower that the Earth will be inundated with great waves. Or with the retired Pentagon official Lou Elizondo, who was the former director of the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, ATIP, the secretive Pentagon unit that studied UFOs. And he has hinted at that the human race was either created or genetically augmented by aliens. Or with the ex-Israeli Defense Minister Haim Eshed, with his mentioning of the Galactic Federation of Planets. And recently with the retired CIA officer John Ramirez, that alien genetics are already within the human population. For me, all of these were just a corroboration with contact events I had already gone public with, or with book drafts I had already given to people. Again, expanding details of what I had been told by the beings. There is controversy within the abduction field on the effectiveness of hypnotic regression to retrieve actual memories versus confabulation or memory compactification. But my own method that I used to prove to myself that my memories were real demonstrates these did not occur. In fact, in my book, I laid out actual skill sets I learned over my life that contributed to my extraordinary ability to retrieve these memories. My own hypnotic regressionist kindly wrote a reference letter for me, as she even commented on my ability to notice when my mind was making something up versus when I was observing real, genuine, authentic memories. That letter can be viewed on my website. Everything I have so far presented to you, including the lie detector test, which I will show you, wasn't done for you watching this video, you, the audience member watching this video. It was done for me, because if I was to see someone like me speaking and saying the things that I'm saying, I wouldn't want to believe me either, unless I saw how vigilant that person was being in making sure that their story is as accurate as possible. So this is really about a standard that I set for myself that I wanted to pass. And so when I passed the lie detector test, I'd like to think I did that. So without further ado, here are the details of the lie detector test, again available on my website, jeffselver.com. And as you can see, no deception indicated. And so all the questions that he asked, and very specifically, most importantly, were you abducted by aliens? And yes, right, is the, and no deception indicated. Probability of deception is 0.04. So what is this all about? My book is called The Rising, the alien plan to build an enlightened city on planet Earth. It's 26 contact events told in amazing detail. And the message seems, in a strange way, very timely and very important. And with their constant presence during its making, it seems like they really wanted you to know. The premise is to get ready for a gray alien presence on planet Earth. The link to my book is in the description below. Also, you can check out my website, www.jeffselver.com, where I have videos of UFOs and essays on content from my book. Thank you for watching.